A bill of materials is simply a description of every single ingredient or component that you might need to build or create some more complex product. A bill of materials could take a lot of different forms. One of the most intuitive forms, however, is a so-called product structure diagram. That's actually, in this particular scenario, what we're going to be asked to develop. Okay, now let's look at the scenario. Main House Gaming has developed the Environmental Response Game, or ERG. This board game is created by mixing standard items with items specifically fabricated for the environmental response game. Okay, fine. The ERG bill of materials reads, and then there's just this table, and it's listing all of these different things. They have code abbreviations, they have descriptions, parent items, and then the number of items that you need for assembly. This is a bill of materials, this particular table. Also, not unhelpful, we have a picture of the environmental response game. We can locate a lot of the items in that picture that are being discussed. For instance, the idea that we need a card set. I see the cards in here. We need a playing board. Well, obviously I see the playing board in here. We need, for instance, it says a standard game box and a box decal. I see that. Oh, they make a lot of different board games. They probably have one standard box type, and then they layer on a printed decal to customize it. Okay, that is another form of a bill of materials. Neither of these things is a so-called product structure diagram, although what they are providing is enough information to create a very nice product structure diagram, which, if you have the note frame, is what is asked for on the next page. Okay, how does this bill of materials appear as a product structure diagram? And then a little tag-on question, how many levels are within this bill of materials? Why should I bother to draw a product structure diagram when you're saying that that big table of information that I was given could also be called a bill of materials? Well, there's a variety of reasons, is it's very hard to tell by just looking at this table of detailed information how many levels there are in this particular product structure, but it would be super easy to see that if we had the product structure diagram. Okay, so let us create from this information a product structure diagram. How do you do that? Begin with the end in mind. Begin with the finished product. You say finished product. Okay, well, something about a board game. Yes, that's what was actually described in the scenario, but actually kind of more specifically, what we would want to do is scan the information that we're given, just in case we were confused about that. The end product by definition will be the product that doesn't have a parent. SKU, stock keeping unit, ERG 001. The ERG, yeah, it says finished unit of sale. Even if, right, we didn't notice that, this tells us that this is the finished goods have no parents. By definition, they're the end. That's what we sell to the outside world. So there's no so-called parent item. That's what we're looking for. Oh, found it. Code name ERG 001. This is going to begin the product structure diagram. Because up here at the top, we just want to create a little graphical designation of that. Okay, ERG 001. And I'm even going to write, just so that I can keep track of it, this is totally optional. Doesn't necessarily have to be on the product structure diagram. This is just a little note for a description. The finished game. Oh, now I want this to be, in essence, a node. You can pick a variety of styles. I'm just going to create a box like a frame. And that little shape with its little frame, that represents, ta-da, the finished good. Now notice that we've drawn it at the top of the page. Oh, because that's where level 0 is. You say, huh? What? Finished goods are level 0 items. Finished goods are level 0 items. Only finished goods belong on level 0. We have just drawn so-called the level 0 of the product structure diagram. You see? Yeah, okay. Now what? Now that we have that. In the case of this particular scenario, that was the only finished good. It's the only thing without a parent that's listed here. Okay, fine. What do we do now? We go looking for everybody that has ERG001 as a parent. And I actually see a string of them right here. Under parent item ERG001, the next 3 items all list ERG001 as the parent. That means that in order to assemble a finished unit of sail, you need a packed set, some standard die cubes, and a ERG branded game box. Oh, okay. What am I supposed to do with that information? Draw it. Draw it, and in a product structure diagram, this is how we represent that. There were 3, we call them children, right? They were listing ERG001 as a parent, so we call them children. There were 3 children. I want to draw a short branch downwards, and then a span. And I'm going to locate 3 things down here. I'm actually going to put the dice on the end. GNRL for general 06. That was just the what? That was just the designation here. Although, yeah, you know, that's not very intuitive. General merchandise, but what is 06? This is the dice. Gonna put a frame around it. Oh, you know, except this, actually, as long as we're drawing this, something I gotta be very careful about is right away, I leaped right in and picked the one item on this whole bill of materials. It says number needed per parent. This refers to a single cube of dice. And it's warning us that you actually need 2 of them. That does belong on the diagram. We do want to note that on the diagram. Okay, now, wait a minute. What was the names of the other 2? The names of the other 2 were ERG101. That's the packed set. The entire contents of the box. Put a frame around it. It is another child of the parent. And then ERG, put it over here, ERG102. That's the branded game box. I'm just going to write game box. Connect it up. Okay. Now notice they are to the best of my ability, all in a line. They're all in a line because they're all on level 1. We would say that each of those items are level 1 items. Oh, okay, well, now, are we done? No, we're not done until everything that we were told about, every little thing on that original table of information is correctly positioned on this diagram. Okay, and we've only done essentially the top 4. You say, well, okay, what do we do next? What we do next is we take, for instance, somebody we've already drawn, like the dice, GNRL06, and we scan up and down here. Does anybody have that item for a parent? And I don't see a G in here anywhere. So the answer is no. Oh, which is nice. It means kind of done drawing over here. Now, wait a minute. What about this one? ERG101, the actual packed set. Does anybody have that for a parent? Oh boy. The next 3 do. See that? ERG201, ERG202, and ERG203, the card set, the playing board itself, and the game piece packet all have the packed set as their parent. Okay, it's time to add them. It's time to add them. That's the parent now, right? So, we drop down. And let's see who's first. ERG 201 is one of the child items. ERG 201, those are the cards. Cards. And then ERG 202. The ERG 202 is the actual playing board. I'm just going to write board. Okay, give it a nice frame to give it an identity, connect it up to its parent, and then ERG 203. And ERG 203 was the pieces packet. Great. They're all on there now. They're all on there now. Now wait, we were actually investigating across this level and we didn't check. Does ERG 102, does that have any, oopsie, that also has 2 children. PAPR, paper, stock paper item, standard game box, and ERG 204, the actual ERG box decal, right? The part that's layered onto the standard box. Those are both children of ERG 201, so I'm going to have to put them in over here, of which they'll fit. Maybe I better draw my boxes first. The first one being PAPR, what is it? PAPR 01. That's the box. And ERG 204. Connected to this is the parent. Right, you make a finished game box by bringing together the standard box that's just blank box with the decal that has all the pretty graphics on it. That creates the finished game box. Okay, good. Oh wait, and okay, it's getting a little wibbly, but they are all actually in one line. This is all level 2. Oh, and I think I see some logic to this coding system for the stock keeping units, SKU. Do you notice that? In that there was only one item on level 0, ERG 001. Notice it begins with an O for level 0. And then there were these 2 items here specific to the environmental response game that were on level 1. They begin with a 1. There were these 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 items on the next level, level 2, that were specific to the game. And do you see how they all begin with a 2? ERG 201, ERG 202. That's partially how they're encoding this apparently in their own bill of materials. Anyway, we still haven't finished this product structure diagram, although we've got to be closing in, because what we need to do now is to check of everybody who's new on level 2 that we've drawn, do they have any children? Okay, ERG 201. Do I see ERG 201 here anywhere? And the answer is no. We don't really need to go through the list because I noticed that there's only 2 other items here. Standard foldable playing board, and then the ERG game board laminate top. Oh, so they make the board similar to how they make the box. The mat is actually standard, and then they layer on a big sticker with the printing on it. Anyway, both of them have ERG 202 as the parent and only ERG 202. That's telling me that ERG 202 is in the center here. ERG 301, right, down on the 3rd level. That's board top. The laminate top is a child of ERG 201. And also the PAPR, stock paper item 25. That would be the standard board. That is also a child item. Make sure they are connected up to the right parent, ERG202. Yes. Now at that point, wait, we're all the way down here on, yes, level 3. This is what we would call level 3. There we go. We double check, put everybody on the product structure diagram, yes, and attached them to the correct parent. Yes, we have it. We have the the product structure diagram. We have the product structure diagram hand drawn, but accurately. There was one other follow-on question. It asked for the number of levels, and that's a pretty obvious answer now. You know, like how many levels are there in this product structure diagram? You just count them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So the answer there is there's 4 levels. It's a fairly deep product structure, as we would say. There's 4 levels. The lowest level, just notice the convention in how we label levels. There's 4 levels. The lowest level is level 3, because the top level in any product structure diagram, the top level in any bill of materials is always referred to as level 0. Okay? Oh, meaning that the lower levels have higher numbers. It doesn't work like a building, you know, numbering the floors. The lower levels have higher numbers. The top level is always level 0. The number of levels, just count them.